you can mute yourselves, and I'll go mute everyone too. Hello, hello. Still in the let's see if I can. Where did that go? There we go. And a few settings I need to do before we start recording, and here we go.
Recording in progress.
Hello, hello, everyone. So glad to be here. As we were just chatting, the Ides of March. Yeah, and maybe we can make a new meaning for that, new beginnings of sorts. Have you guys seen, June, maybe you're further up north. Have you seen crocuses and daffodils are pushing up? The greens are pushing up, but crocuses are around here, coming up, some of them. All right, let's begin. Thank you, everyone, for joining our practice today. Let the sound of the bell lead us right into the arrival. You are welcome to stay seated. Change your position, modify your position at any point during this short practice. We'll be doing, I'll lead, as I often do, with some poetry to help us slide into that ever-present, ever here, but sort of slippery presence, and then into stillness. And from there, whether you're sitting or lying down, I'm going to guide us into a legs up the chair position, or legs up the couch, or something about the size of a hassock. It could be a small table. And if you know that and you'd like to get into that right now, that's fine too. So I have, again, a couple poems, and I keep bouncing off which way to present them. But, I think I'll go first with Rumi's poem. You've probably heard this, and I return to it again and again to help myself remember to not just be present, but in presence to open to whatever comes, to open. And I've spoken with often on this topic and shared with you guys, sometimes one-on-one. How do we hold this presence, this calm, quiet place, neutral place? And yet, how do we move through life? So how do we, when something comes at us that's fun and delicious, that's often easy to just let in. Chocolate pudding, something like that. But if it's, and I'm thinking of something someone said that triggers something deep in me, much more difficult to keep a certain presence. And so here we are to practice that. So Rumi's guidance is the first step. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. A little note at the end, I would put at that, I think I'm giving myself the authority to do that, is the guide is tailored to each of us. The guides we get coming in, those visitors, those guests, is exactly who we need. I also like that he uses the word, I've been looking at this, how to say, do we welcome them? He says welcome and entertain them, but he says also, treat each guest honorably. So I find it important that while some of those guests are not easy to welcome, in fact, I want to push them away. I want to ignore them. I want to make them disappear. And so by saying treat each guest honorably or be present with each one. And I have this image, and maybe if you've just heard this poem or you've heard it a number of times, I have a image of this house that is mine, that is a little like an old farmhouse, that have the little porch out front and maybe a little yard and a gate. So maybe some guests I don't even let on the porch. Maybe some guests I do allow to come sit with me on the porch, and others I allow in the house. So we can play with that kind of imagery to help us to be that host that allows each guest their dignity, their usefulness, their expression, but to keep it, if needed, at a distance that works for us, makes it a little more workable, gives us a little more perspective sometimes if we can separate them out. Some psychotherapists, I think, these days are using this way of setting that other on a chair next in front of us, and I choose to let it be as far as I need it away from me, even in a box, even put the guest in a box. So perhaps imagine yourself, perhaps you're a different kind of house. You might be it doesn't have to make any sense. It might be a log cabin in the woods today, and it might be a big mansion on a lake another day. And the next poem, there are two that are vying for this place. I'll go with The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and I lie down where the wood drake rests, in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. And so let's rest together, still and silent, for maybe it'll be 5, 6 minutes. Using whatever works from these poetic images that land us to right here. Resting in the grace of the world. Sometimes resting in each breath as you feel it. Sometimes as we remember that the ground is here for us. You can even feel the touch through your skin, your clothes, what you're sitting or lying on. And letting that feel of that support offer a little more relaxation in the jaw, the shoulders, and the belly. Another few breaths in this stillness together. And you can choose. You might choose to just stay exactly where you are, continuing the stillness in the seated position or whichever you've been in. Or you might join me as I keep with this quiet, I guess you could call it quiet, that we've cultivated, and I'm going to shift my camera a little. I've got a couch here close, so I can shift to get my legs up the couch. So you'll need a space to lie down. And you sort of place your hips close up to where whatever you're going to put your calves up on, your feet up on. I kind of sit close there, facing away from the middle, and lie my side down. In my case, it's my right side. And I'm going to bring something to put under my head close by. You might like that. And then I lie down on my side as I roll onto my spine. Since I was at the edge of my blanket on the ground here, now I'm sort of lined up on my cushioning. And then you could add something under your head. Just arrive here, this new positioning. Letting each part accept the support underneath, the hands, the arms, the shoulders, the head, the pelvis, the calves and feet rest up on a surface, and the knees are about at 90 degrees bent. And this position, a little bit of what we call an inversion in yoga, is wonderful for the heart. This particular way, having the knees bent like this, allows a lot of restfulness for the upper legs and the hips. It's very nice for the low belly and the organs here. It's nice for the spine and the low back. It's nice for many, many parts of us. Now you might choose to just be here still and just enjoy this position. Or you might join me in what I call Russian dancer arms. I grab hold of my elbows or upper forearms with either hand. And then I've got this little window, and I bring up the arms up close to my forehead and then down toward my belly a few times. Just slow movements of shoulders, upper back. You can even take that window up over your head. Might need to open it a little more. Slide the hands. Breathing comfortably. Easy. Not pushing anything, but letting each part work harmoniously together. You may even feel this pulls on the spine, opens the hips a little bit, even though the main moving parts are shoulders, arms. And then bringing this window back up over the heart, like where we started it. Take your one elbow to the side so the window kind of collapses. Let it go to one side. Back to center. To the other side. See what your head wants to do as you do this. Does your face turn excuse me, with the motion. All of these are fine. The ones I'll list in a minute. Maybe your head just stays at center, or even your head goes to face opposite the direction the arms pull in. Then let your arms rest. Just relax the arms, the hands. Coming into stillness, welcoming all the visitors that are coming in. They may be subtle. A little change here or there, a little opening, a little definition. And again, you can stay in stillness or join me for this last part, which will be again taking the arms and that Russian dancer making a little window. I'm going to clasp differently. My usual clasp is the right hand kind of on front where I can see it, and I'm going to do the left hand in front. And when I take the elbows to the side now, I'll then make a big circle with the elbows, keeping the hands clasped on the forearm. And feel free to make this feel as luxurious as possible, but not hurting, not pinching. Harmonious with the neck, the spine, the ribs. Even though the legs feel like they're pretty inert, you might even feel how this pulls on them a little bit. Or makes little shifts in the belly, in the low back, and other direction a few times. Just letting the head, neck do what they need to do. At some point, you'll come to a stop wherever you want to land your arms, and then just let your hands, arms rest again. And just stay where you are. I'm going to be shifting to coming up to sitting. And I'll read you yet another poem, a 3-poem day, that I think captures how we can be in presence and yet meet the visitors that come. This is called Imaginary Conversation by Linda Pastan. You tell me to live each day as if it were my last. This is in the kitchen, where before coffee, I complain of the day ahead. That obstacle race of minutes and hours, grocery stores and doctors. But why the last, I ask? Why not live each day as if it were the first? All raw astonishment. Eve rubbing her eyes, awake that first morning, the sun coming up like an ingénue in the east. You grind the coffee with the small roar of a mind trying to clear itself. I set the table, glance out the window where dew has baptized every living surface. So in these next several breaths, you have a decision to make, whether you just stay where you are, if you have the time to soak in some longer practice, or maybe do some more movements than we did, or stay in more stillness for a few more minutes. Or you can come up to sitting, but either way, to signify the end of our practice together, we'll take a bell and a bow. It could be from right where you are. Your bow can be imaginary. Thank you for joining me this week for this short practice and very meaningful and good practice to send us off into the rest of our day and week. So I'll now stop the recordings, but those of you who'd like to stay on Zoom to visit or say a few things, we'll do that for a little while. So thank you.
Recording stopped.
Ooh.